our lives are better than the main character of today's show.
Yeah, his life kind of sucks.
Honestly, I actually sat there going, shit, this could be my life in 2 years.
I mean...
That's me and Welcome to the NHK, honestly.
Connor's like, oh.
See, I know that I can't do that, because at least, like, I won't get, like, super conspiracy theory paranoid, like, and, like, sitting in a room.
It's not... Okay, when you go, like, longer in Welcome to the NHK, it's not a conspiracy. It's him reflecting on his old life and basically wishing he can go back to that.
Yeah, I mean...
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. But for this week, we're talking about...
that's not a show we talk about.
No, with this one, with Ultimate Survivor Kaiji, it's not about, like...
Yes, that's the show that
is what we're watching this week.
Yes.
Ultimate Survivor Kaiji.
With this show, whereas NHK is more like, oh, you're being spoiled and you kind of go through your life. Yeah, I'm making this hard for you, aren't I, Andrew? We're doing another game today. Whoever tangents for 2 minutes gets to buy drinks for everyone else.
Because we all tangent quite a lot, so we're
Which
trying
makes
to
it
fix this.
occasionally fun, but on this week, we're trying to do something a little bit speedier than normal.
So, excuse
Also,
us if
it'll
it's a bit choppy.
It'll keep us on topic, at least.
Yeah.
Andrew?
I know for the first time,
Andrew's phone goes off.
Wow.
I had it on because people were calling me all week.
Fuck it all up.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
So, try to keep this focus, which is what the purpose of that in the
We're
beginning
talking
is.
about Kaiji, and first let's talk about...
What is it
What
about?
do we normal? Oh, that's what we talked
That's
about.
what we were talking
As
about.
I
is-
was saying.
is what it's normally about. And for Connor, for this, we could actually do a recommendation for this because Connor insists that you could probably recommend it with just the first 9 episodes.
Yeah.
So we will start there.
Sure.
We will start with the
Can we
recommendation
please
section.
talk about what the show's actually about first?
Yes, and I was
Good idea.
actually going to get to that. So Connor, since this is your week that we've been putting off so long,
Sorry
what?
about that.
Yeah, sorry about
We
that.
apologize.
It's cool.
Very hard. Dark Souls got in the way. Anyway, what is your summary of this show that is in your top 5?
Okay, Ultimate Survivor Kaiji is very much not what you would expect in an anime. And I know you can hear that from a lot of different stuff, but I would mostly compare this to almost a live-action thriller series. It's very much like you take this character in his normal everyday life. He gets sort of shoved into this situation that's not at all like fantasy or anything like that, but it has like a very dark, grim outlook on life, and it's just basically like backstabby kind of place, which is like you guys could probably agree is really popular in TV nowadays, like with Game of Thrones and what's the meth one?
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. That's sort of
All
how
that
I would
sort of stuff.
describe this, except this main character is actually relatable the whole way through. So, like, it's just...
What? Walter White is not a relatable character? Since when?
I didn't watch Breaking Bad. So
Wait,
I'm
you
not,
relate with Walter White?
No.
I'm not going to comment on this. I feel like somebody's got to, though.
Somebody's got to.
Yeah, but they have some splaining to do. Anyways, yeah, you're basically just following this character who keeps getting screwed over by life and just making it out by the skin of his teeth. And he goes through quite a few bit of obstacles. Each kind of obstacle or death game or whatever he has to do is an arc. And we've gone through the first arc, and we're starting off on the second. The numbers system we kind of used was arbitrary here, because episode 13 is like midway through another arc.
Yeah.
Okay. I've only watched 10 episodes.
Which
at
is
this
fine.
point.
And I hit 13 because I thought we had to get to 13.
We were going to get to 13, and I said, I have shit to do. Let's record.
Yes. And also, it's really weird to end off on 13.
Also, I've heard a lot of people say this is like the best show you've never watched, or that no one's ever watched. Like, this is a
One of
really small show that a lot of people don't know about. Or it's not, I wouldn't say really small, but this is definitely a show that you won't hear a lot of people talking about.
You've probably seen the main character before.
Yeah, it has a really unique art style.
Yeah.
That is most definitely.
Yeah, and this week we
Truth.
should be better on the ball on watching this so we don't put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably pull up a picture, but basically they're like really realistic, well, not realistic.
Oh, what are
It's
you talking
characterized
about?
and like
It's extremely
the coloring's
angular.
a lot more realistic.
The art style is very unique because it's not what you would see
caricatures.
from a very typical anime.
They use a lot of really hard lines and hard angles, and it's...
And a lot of points. There's a lot of points.
Yeah, it's very
either
pointy.
It's either pointy or very like
Straight.
flat.
Sorry, by realistic I meant just not cartoony. As
No,
much.
I mean, it's still
more-
cartoony.
no,
It just
caricatures.
doesn't look...
It's
animated.
more cartoony than
Really? Than anime?
Yeah, I would say it looks more cartoony.
I don't know. There's a lot of cartoons that I don't really see having really sharp, like, long angles.
It's got its own art style. It has
Yeah.
really thick lines. It has really sharp angles, and
I would
a
say
lot of
more like
straight
paintings or like stuff you would find on the internet, like drawings. Is
I don't
how
know.
I would describe this.
It's very unique. That's all you need to know about it. You can look it up yourself if you're interested.
Yeah, and I'd say that it works fine. Like
No, honestly, that's one of the parts I liked most about the show was I feel like it definitely fits the themes and the style that they're going for. Like,
Because
sharp,
a lot of
hard, angular.
because there's a
very
lot of
much-
sharp, hard, angular characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything's very... Also, it's very defined and, like, definitive. Like, when you see it, it's... I don't know. It stands out, and I feel like the show's the same way. It's very bold and hard.
Yeah, and I felt personally like it does a really good job in kind of self-containing its arcs. Like, okay, personally, I find if our other friend Connor, so yeah, Connor's kind of masturbating to himself, like agreeing with himself here, but whatever. We both agree that the first 9 episodes can kind of be in their own little series, and that's why I'm saying it's kind of okay to just review the first 9.
Yeah, I could say that. The first 9
We should
is...
stick to the first 9 for now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Dawson hasn't even watched the
Because
rest.
I've only watched the first episode of the
Yeah.
following arc. So,
Which is totally just set up.
yeah.
So, what did you guys think of the first?
Well,
9?
the first 9, from a plot perspective, the first 9 basically are, he's broke, or he needs
Don't
money.
spoil it too much.
He
Here.
needs money.
I mean, all of this is
Yeah.
figured out in the first
Yeah.
episode, so I think
He
we're
needs
fine.
money, so he's given this offer to go to this like area where he could gamble money, and he goes to this gambling money, and it's just a whole thing about backstabbing, rock paper scissors, stuff like that.
Mind games.
Mind games.
basically.
It's basically mind games.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, it was interesting. I mean, it was. Yeah, I could just say, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, when they brought out the rock, paper, scissors, I thought that was a really good idea when you're getting into mind games.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Because, it's keep it simple, and then from a very base point, I've talked about this a lot, is that mind games stem from rock, paper, scissors, specifically, like fighting games, which is are considered mind games,
Yeah.
are seen as are seen as this huge rock paper scissors game. So
Yeah.
for it to be rock paper scissors, and for this show to start off as this huge mind game, I can say that it works really well.
I'd say this works a lot better than another show that did this. And I know I'm going to get a little bit of hate for this, but I feel like No Game, No Life. I watched the first episode with you guys, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like we really can't compare it if
Okay.
we've only watched one
One
episode.
episode.
Okay,
That's
but
not fair.
I'm doing it on an individual basis on this very first episode. And I've heard you say they don't explain this part later. When he walks up to the lady and gambles with her, and it just goes, oh, full house. And then instead of explaining, like, how he did the mind games, he would just go, oh, you cheated. Or it's like, oh, you out-cheated her. And it's like, there's no explanation.
I really don't think we can fairly
Yeah.
judge.
No,
on
I know.
one
I'm just saying
episode.
for that first episode.
Okay.
That is like how I felt you can really do something wrong, and that's what kind of put me off from continuing on. Whereas with this, when you're watching a show about mind games, like JoJo or Kaiji, like I feel like you really actually want to explain it well. Otherwise, no one's gonna be impressed by your mind games. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, that's."
You gotta do the step by step of like you are hearing what the character is thinking, or there's a character monologue of them explaining what's happening going on. And yes, that's kind of a very weird trope of like character explains to another character while they're fighting that character, like kind of like to have exposition in the nature, but it makes the mind games a lot more interesting.
And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for someone to explain a situation. And I feel like they do it really well here, where it's just in a lot of shonens, like, when they try to explain the situation, it's something you already know when they're spoon-feeding it to you. Whereas with Kaiji, like, there's been parts where I just go, what the fuck just happened? And then they explained it, and I had to rewatch the explanation, like, 2 times.
And we should start moving on to a discussion point and move from the recommendation point. But from a very recommendation standpoint, I feel that this series kind of... I felt like even though they did a lot of explanation in this show, it was very simplistic, and I could like follow what was going on really easily from what I was watching it, and I was just like, and I just felt that their explanations felt long.
Okay.
And I could have, like, they could have been short and concise, but I felt that they take up a lot of time.
I don't think they were that bad. I kind of felt like they're kind of going for a wider audience with some of them. Like, there were plenty that
I'll get more into specifics later,
Yeah.
but Dawson.
I felt, in general, they spent a lot of time explaining stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, a little bit too much.
Exactly. I felt it was too much when specific episodes would just be explaining that one plot point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, I think the art style is really interesting. I enjoyed the sound design in general. It wasn't perfect.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was far from perfect.
Yeah, it's the music isn't that like.
One thing, I'll talk about the OP when we get into the discussion session,
Yeah.
but I have stuff to say about that.
The funny thing
As
about the
Connor
sound,
probably
okay,
knows.
as you could say about the sound design and like music on that, there was like a specific moment where I sat there and I went, because when you give me a show on a boat, and I think like 999 and VLR and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there was a specific song that I went, I feel like I heard that from VLR and 999, and then I just thought to myself, I feel like I've heard that a lot. And there's a very specific music that's just used for in a trap situation mind games. Yeah, it's a very specific song that somehow is used in everything like that, but is somehow different. But it just sounds. I feel like I've heard that before.
It's like the music that's trying to make you feel antsy and like you have to do
And so-
Yeah, it's like really foreboding music. It's
Yeah.
pretty much always like these minor notes on a violin.
So the art style is very interesting. The music is okay, and it seemed, in my opinion, it kind of dragged in some points. So I could slightly recommend this. I'm not gonna fully recommend this until I see the full thing, because I have to see the full thing. So, but that's where I stand right now. Where the first 9 episodes were interesting in concept, and from there with the 4 episodes afterwards that I watched, I felt actually were interesting in a different way than the first couple episodes, and is a totally different thing that
it'll get completely different.
it's a completely different thing from the first to the second.
Yeah, I would, if you really like mind games or you really enjoy clever mind games and
Then
stuff
watch
like
the
that,
first 9
then you
episodes.
should definitely watch at least the first 9 episodes of this show.
Because it's a totally different type.
You could drop it after the first 9. Like, you wouldn't lose anything. Like, well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to like see the rest, obviously, but like, it wouldn't feel incomplete, is the way I would put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, I've never been particularly into mind games myself.
Oh yes,
So
we've had
that
long
made
conversations
parts
about
of,
this.
We've had long conversations about this, and that made this show particularly hard for me because the thing that the show does best is something that I'm less
interested
than fond of.
Yes.
A lot of the time.
And even from
I don't hate mind games, obviously, and I thought they did a really good job with what they did.
Yeah, and even
It's
from my
just-
standpoint of a person who enjoys mind games, I felt that, again, it was a little bit dragging in the explanations, and that they could say it in a more short, concise thing. With the 9 episodes, I felt could have been shortened down to like just cutting out a couple episodes. But
Now a bit of an excuse for that is there is the whole thing of translation and stuff. Like, you do have to deal with the fact that, like, they're saying it in sort of a different dialect. When you're explaining something, it actually is, I feel like, a bit harder when you have to translate it. Like, they have to kind of put it in a different way just because, like,
I
the way
don't-
people...
but
I feel like the same challenges are there that
Yeah.
are there with other shows.
Well, definitely. That's what...
and I feel like
It's just
yeah,
in
It's like,
different
how many
places.
shows do you know have, like, really complicated mind games and do them well?
a
I
handful.
usually avoid those shows.
A handful.
Yeah, like, I could think Monster, I heard, did it pretty well.
Yeah.
JoJo, in a different way, does it well.
JoJo does it differently from... you can't count season
I don't
part
really
3,
want to count any shonens.
but part 2, 4, and above, the mind games are real.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. But we should move on to our discussion section because the recommendation
Yes.
actually went a lot longer than normal.
Yeah. So no score on the first part? Or?
No,
I'm not gonna score.
we're not
it.
scoring it.
Okay.
No, why are we scoring this? Why are we scoring this, Connor? We've only watched 9 episodes.
I just feel like we've done that.
Okay, from the score.
We have done that
you know
before.
What? For your pity, for the first 9
For my
episodes.
pity.
For the first 9 episodes, I give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
I am not gonna rate it. I finished it like
A minute ago.
like 5-10 minutes ago.
A hot
something.
minute ago.
Yeah, a little while ago. So that's too soon off of it for me to rate it. And also, I'm afraid if I did rate it, the score would drop later, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, the score will drop later.
The score probably.
The score will drop
That's why
later.
I'm already stating a 6.5 out of 10.
But Yeah, so I'm just not gonna rate this one.
So moving on to